All right, there we go. Wait for a few people to log on. We're here at the SNS Academy. Hello, hello. We're just waiting for a few more to log on. All right. All right, hello, hello, everyone. How are you doing today? All right, me and Stephanie here will be talking about a few things today in regards to dip powder sanitation, as well as how to save product. All right, go ahead.
Hello. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a little demonstration. There's a lot of things in the news. We got the coronavirus, which will be interesting. But what we are going to do today is show you simple things that you can do to help protect your customers, to protect yourself, and be able to basically deal with all the controversy in a very great manner that's not going to affect your business, and in fact it'll end up saving you money. So we're going to take it over to the sink, because the first thing that I always teach when I teach at the academy is that the most important thing is to have your customers wash their hands first with a good scrub brush and get all the particles out from underneath the nails, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to demonstrate that right now with Anna and her hands over here at the sink. Okay.
Right.
So we have her hands. Pretend Anna just came off the street. She's my new customer. Thank you, Anna. I'm going to have you wash your hands. Sing the ABCs while you do it so we know that she's washing her hands for the correct amount of time. I want her, she's going to demonstrate how to really do everything. You wash the backs of the hands, up the wrists, you wash in between the fingers, and then you take the scrub brush and scrub. So she's going to demo that right now.
And quick question for everyone. Am I going to be doing this in cold or warm water?
You're going to use warm water. Cold water is not effective.
All right, wait for this to warm up a little bit. I have my soap here. All right, now let's start. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I won't sing. I'll hurt your ears. Sorry, kids.
J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
And then you want to make sure you use that scrub brush to really get under the nails and around the nail beds.
All right, using this clean scrub brush. Now, I know this is a brand new one,
Yes.
but do you usually put in disinfectant, or what do you do?
No, I do not disinfect my brushes. What I do is I give them to my customers so that they can take them home and use them to help keep clean and stay clean and for their own sanitation, because washing hands is really good. And then I recommend when they come back in 2 weeks to have their nails, throw that brush away because they'll be getting a new one.
All right. Do you think that was ABCs? I
Very
think that was good. All right.
Now, the other thing that Anna wants to do is she wants to rinse off the soap residue very well. If your soap, we use a lot of antibacterial soaps. We have a lot of soaps that have oils and stuff like that. You want to make sure that she's rinsing those hands really well. And then when I sit her back down, I am going to show you the process to go ahead and make sure that the nails are dehydrated again, not rehydrated, dehydrated again, so that your service is perfect every time.
All right.
Okay.
I went ahead and dried my hands off with some paper towels for now. All right, let's go ahead and follow Stephanie. And here's our new products. They're so cool. We're at the SNS Academy over here. Have all of our beautiful posters, some of our colors over here. Really cool stuff. All right. All right, there we go.
Okay, I'll let Anna get the phone in position.
All right, we're all there. Oh, so sorry. One more time. There we go.
In position.
All right, and we're ready.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you, we're going to go ahead and remove her nails as well.
And this is SNS on here. I have about 2 weeks growth, and I had it much longer. I had to cut them off just because, well, it was time.
They grow fast.
They do grow fast. And this process is called the baggie method. It's one of our favorites. It takes off everything probably in about five minutes,
A lot
I
of
want
it
to
is
say.
going to depend on, when we get into colder climates, the beautiful thing with Anna rinsing and washing her hands is it's warmed her hands up. So when you're in the removal process, you want to go ahead and take off the top coat and get it to where it is nice and rough. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that, guys. One more time. There we go.
And oh, nothing there. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a strip of cotton like so, and I'm going to take a Ziploc bag. And you can do several variations. You could wrap the hands, say, in the cotton and tin foil, and then put them in rubber gloves and do the same concept. Basically what we're doing, the concept here is to warm up the acetone so that it works faster to remove the nails. I'm going to ask Anna when I put her hands in the bag, for her to agitate the nails, the nail beds against the cotton in there. And I want it to be pretty saturated so that there's plenty of acetone solution there. Then what I do is I usually take and add some warm water. I've heated some up here, so we have to test it. We don't want it to be too hot, which it might be. Do we have just some regular water to cool it off? Just
Yeah,
a tad.
I'm gonna go grab some.
Yeah, so Anna's gonna do that real quick. So what I'm gonna do, and the really cool thing about this method that we're using, you can create a really cool service out of it. If you were to simply drop, say, a few essential oil drops into the water, and you can create kind of an aromatherapy service, for 10 minutes of relaxation with smell good type things, can't go wrong there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, so basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a bowl, you're going to fill it with water, warm water, and then you're gonna have your baggie. You can do, like I said, the tin foil wrap around the fingers, a little bit of tin foil like so, and you want to use a good nice amount of cotton that you would saturate, and then you would wrap the finger like so, and then you can put them in oversized gloves and then use the bowl of hot water. So there's several different options for that you can definitely use. And then inside your bowl of warm water, if you drop a few drops of essential oil in there with the steam with the water, it will allow you to have some fabulous aromatherapy while they are soaking. Okay, so I'm gonna have Anna, and I'm gonna ask her to put her fingers down onto the cotton, and then I'm gonna ask her to kind of move everything around so that what's happening is that she is agitating the situation so that it helps the removal process.
And what else we can do is, since the bag is open, we can prevent any acetone from escaping. And just so you don't have those harsh smells, what you're going to do is just close it right on the side, just like this. And now we can't smell anything. So it's warm water in here. And what I'm doing is I'm literally just scrubbing just like this.
Okay, now I would also scrub and wash my hands, which I ran off and did just now. Okay, now if you are using hand sanitizer, the one thing that we need to be careful of, if I use it on my hands, okay, I want to get a good amount, I want to make sure that I am covering my whole entire hand. Everything in between the fingers, there goes my ring, everything. And then you have to let it air dry. That is the most correct way to use hand sanitizer. Then once it evaporates and dries, I want you to feel your hands. If there is a very sticky residue, that's not something I would recommend using with SNS, because that sticky residue is leaving a coating. So I would not recommend using that on your client's hands. I'm gonna use on Anna's hands when we get to the process after she's soaked off to prep and go into everything. I'll show you how I go ahead and dehydrate them back again. And then I will also, at that point, once I've sanitized my hands, I'm gonna put on gloves here. Then what I can do is I want to make sure when I put her and soak her in, say you had a client that didn't have nails on. Acetone is really good at disinfecting everything. It takes everything off. What I would do, say she was a client that had normal nails, I would ask her to, and had no product on, maybe she was a first time client, I would still ask her to rinse and wash her hands like we demonstrated. But then when she sat down, I'll show you what we do at that point. So I have a couple of things here. I've got my acetone bottle. In here, I have 99% alcohol.
All right. And as you guys can tell, it's already coming off. I have some glitters here. They're a little bit harsher, but it's literally been less than, what, I want to say 3 minutes, and it's already coming off. Mm-hmm. I'm going to file just a little bit off the sides where I see, and I am all good.
So what I would do is you can go ahead and you could, so basically once SNS starts melting away, you know, what I would usually do, that's why I create the aromatherapy, because that relaxes your client and lets them sit there for a good 10 minutes. You could do relaxing headphone music. You could, you know, dim your room if you're in a suite, make it real relaxing. And that could be just a nice little de-stress while you're having your SNS. So when you look, you can already tell, I'm gonna just kind of clean these off. Look how well the color's already coming off. When you're getting into glitters, glitter is a little bit more of a harder surface, so I could have actually prepped a little bit more by filing. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask her to put her hands back in and just soak. and basically keep agitating that nail. So keep rubbing on the bottom of the cotton against the bowl, because that is really what assists and speeds up the time to have the nails removed.
All right, back in the bowl I go.
Okay, so while she's doing that, what I would do is I would start getting my everything ready with the colors. You can talk about that while they're in the bowl. As she would be soaking one hand, I would be working on the other, so that you could start basically both hands going. And then what happens is, by the time that hand is finished, this hand will be prepped, and you can just switch off and you keep the service going. Okay.
All right, and just for everyone, which file are you using right now?
I am using the 180. You know, you want to kind of, when you're doing the removal process, just on the product, you want to use a rougher surface file, something with a more coarse of a grit versus something like, you know, a buffer or something like that. I'm using this one because I just want to demonstrate that even with something like this, you can still effectively remove the product. You could also use your e-file, just working on the product. You don't want to come in, because if you choose to prep your nails, a lot of it depends on how you prep. So, you know, look at Anna. Anna's had, how long? 2 weeks of growth. Mm-hmm. So basically at this point, if I was to prep them, say with an e-file, I've already, where I'm removing the product has been prepped previously. So really, especially if I'm using an e-file, I would only want to work down around the cuticle area with the e-file, and then most of the center part where you have the apex in that area of the nail, I would just use a buffer. You really don't need to go across that again with the e-file. Okay. Voila. Okay. Get some more cotton here. How you doing? Let me check her nails. Well, looky there. So we're gonna have her switch hands if I wanted to, if we were doing both. And then I would go ahead on the nail that she's, there's a little bit more product still right there, but we're doing good. So as you can see, it's a very easy process if you prep and your water temperature is right and the water is warm, to be able to accomplish everything. I'm just gonna have her soak a little bit longer to get just a little bit of the product off of these two. That's the other thing. You definitely want to make the customer have all fingers down into the cotton. If the cotton is starting to disintegrate, you can always just take another little bit in there and add another little chunk and some more acetone and have them go ahead and rub. A lot of times too, you could also take, like, the paper towel is almost the length of the bag, so sometimes I'll just roll in one piece. Just fair warning, the acetone will destroy the paper towels, because paper towels are meant, just like toilet paper, to kind of break up over water. But it gives a rougher surface for her to work her nails against, you know, the product, to remove it faster. So, do we have any questions? All quiet out there. Everybody must be busy working. We like that.
There are quite a few people watching now, so perfect.
Okay. whatever's left over, I can just come in and clean everything up. And then I can start prepping. Okay, now, what I have done, because we are prepping her nails, okay, by soaking her hands, even though she washed her hands, she's still dehydrated them with the acetone. Acetone is very dehydrating. So that will eliminate the moisture on the nail bed. Then on top of that, if you have any question, I would go ahead and you can take just alcohol and basically go over the nails with that as well, which is another form of dehydration. Poor Anna's beating the crud out of her nails here. Okay, so what I would do now is I can go ahead and mist her hands down with just a little bit of alcohol. Now, I'm also going to flip her hand over. I want to come in here as well, okay? Okay. Now, I can go ahead and start my prepping process. And that right there will keep the hands already have been free of anything, because if you look about spreading of viruses, washing the hands is one of the #1 most effective ways to eliminate those problems. So I'm gonna go ahead. Now, when I teach here at the Academy, I usually, I will tell most women that
someone's missing out on the bag and how it looks like, so I'm just gonna
move
it in here.
I think you probably need to come over a little bit more. So I'll go over it real quick if we have people that have missed it. So what I have done for Anna, we took her to the sink and we had her scrub her hands with a little scrub brush, okay? I then give her that scrub brush for her way to take home with her. Then what we did is we brought her back. We filled a bowl with some warm water, and then we put cotton down the bottom of the bowl. And what I've done is I've asked her to put her hands down and just kind of keep doing this, which will help remove the product. So I hope that answers the questions.
And I'm literally just moving it around, just in case you didn't see from that view. I'm literally just mushing it into the cotton, and I've been doing this for maybe like 3 minutes, and as you can tell, it's already disintegrating. It's fairly easy to take off. Not fairly, it's very easy to take off.
Her hands are all just okay. Then I would go ahead and do any of my shaping, that kind of stuff. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shape up one of her nails. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you a process. Not only will it save your powders, it could be 100% sanitary. We're not putting fingers into the powder at all. And I will show you how you do that with something that we've had on the market for, what, 10 years maybe?
Yep.
Part of it is, and what I always teach in class, ladies, is think. You know, look at what you have. Think outside of the box. Just because, like, I used to be a makeup artist, okay? If you were to tell me that this brush is only for highlighting, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I could also use it for maybe contouring down the nose, maybe some contouring around the head. So part of it is thinking outside of the box. So what we are going to utilize today, anybody recognize these little guys? I'm going to have Anna put this aside because we're going to start working. I'm going to pull this up because we've made a mess, and I'm going to get rid of this and lay down another paper towel. Make it look pretty. Okay. Now, we all know that we have to build the foundation first, correct? So what I'm going to utilize is I am going to utilize our French trays, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sanitize it first. And I waited because I want to do this in front of my customer. So I'm going to go ahead, spray it down, clean it all out. Okay. And it's still a little wet. That's a good thing because you want that alcohol, okay, kind of just evaporate off of there. So both of these have been sanitized. And as you notice, I'm using, my preference is the deeper side of the dishes. Maybe your preference is something else. Like I said, think outside of the box.
That's the number 1 on the SNS French dip. We also have side 2, but at this time we're going to be utilizing side 1.
Okay. So, I'm going to run and grab just one thing quick here. Sorry. And I'm going to show you how to measure.
All right. So while she's doing that, I'm just going to show you the progress that I've made with this. And as you can tell, I have just little bits and pieces of cotton over here, but my nails are clean. That's it. All of the SNS is gone off of my hands. This is my natural nails. Boom. Beautiful.
Okay. So I went and just got a disposable spoon, okay? I would go ahead, again, in front of the customer. I would spray it down with some alcohol, just make sure it's nice and clean. Sometimes people just like to use these things and then put them back, right? So that's all cleaned off, good to go. Now, I'm gonna start with the natural set, okay? As you can see right here, okay? Now, I know that I'm gonna be doing all 10 of Anna's nails, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm not going to just pour this in and fill it up because saving powder helps us with cost, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take, and I'm gonna scoop a little bit out because I'm only demoing on one hand, and I'm gonna pour it right in there, okay? You can set this off to the side, okay? Now, I'm gonna move this over here. Get my paper towel ready here. Okay. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this finger right here. Okay, Anna's nails have all been prepped, they're ready to go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start building a foundation. But before I build the foundation, I wanna look at Anna's nails. I wanna look at them from a straight on view, and I also wanna look from a side view, okay? Because we can use the SNS product to shape her nail, form her nail, and make the nails look perfect from the outside, okay? And that's all about how you would lay down the foundation. She has a little dust on her fingers, so I'm just gonna take my alcohol. This horrible bottle I bought that week. I got a leaky alcohol here. Okay, so I'm just gonna wipe that off so I'm dust free here, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in for my foundation, okay? Lay down the base. Now, what I like to do is once I lay that down, I like to, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys this. When I wipe my brush, okay, I don't just, I like to wipe like that, get off the excess, and then I can come over and I can thin this down so that I'm controlling my fluid, okay? Put this right there, and I'm gonna use this to just pour, okay? Now, after I would go across, and I would do this to all 5 nails, okay? Then is when I would move my dish out of the way. I would then take my brush, okay? And I would dust off so that the powder, the little bit of powder I had on the nails would be right here, not into my jar, okay? Now, what I would do is these containers, once you go back and forth, then you would build on this and you could use that to pour into the empty one. And going back and forth, these make great little containers. So I'm just gonna do one more layer of a foundation just so you guys can see how I created that. So back over, smooth it out, okay? Over my one dish, I'm gonna just lightly pour, okay? Tap it off, and then I'm gonna go on to the next nail. Again, after I finished all 5, remove the dishes and I would lightly dust off. And as you can tell, there's hardly any powder down there, okay? Now, when we move on to color, I like to have a separate 2 dishes for color because color sometimes can be, especially when you get into some of our darker colors like the reds and the blacks, they could actually stain. So what I would do again, in front of my customer, I would clean, make sure that they realize, and I would do this, so I would clean my dishes after my customer left, sanitize them, put them away, and then I'm doing it one more time while the customer's here, just so the customer can see that I'm doing everything the right way. Okay. But fair warning, you want these to be dry when you pour color in there, okay? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the process. We're going to use, looky here, Coma Coast. Is that what that? Kona Coast. Coma. And this is our new Destination Wedding collection, okay? So I am going to open up my jar. I'm going to put my little styrofoam piece back in there so my powder doesn't go everywhere. Ooh, I'm going to use my spoon again. Sanitize it. Okay. Now, again, all 10 nails, I really don't need a lot, okay? And the beautiful thing is, because this powder is technically not touching the nail and the skin, and I'm not sticking the finger into it, the powder that's in this container is still sanitized, okay? And I want to go over another thing because I don't think a lot of people know, okay? I want you all, okay, so I don't know, some of you know me, some of you don't. If you've had one of my classes, one of the things that you know about me is I am an ingredient buff, okay? And I want you to see right here. See this benzoyl peroxide, okay? Benzoyl peroxide is added to every single jar of color that we do, and that is what is in our product, and we have a dry product, okay? So this dry product, the beautiful thing of it is, if we know, let's go back to our lessons in school, right? Most things need moisture to thrive and live, and they need warmth. We have a dry product that contains no moisture, the benzoyl peroxide. So if you want a little research project, do some research on benzoyl peroxide and see what it does, okay? All right, so I can actually put that jar away because I have the product I'm gonna use right here in front of me, okay? I'm gonna let Anna get the camera back together, and here we go, okay? So, everything's been clean. And you know what? That's another thing I wanna talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Most of us are very guilty of allowing our customers to be messing around with their cell phones during a service. So if we really want to get into this whole sanitization, the cell phone is probably the germiest thing that you could have in your hands while you're doing a service. So consider that too. So if your customer, say you finish one hand and they start handling their cell phone, you really need to add more alcohol to that to sanitize their hand back down again. Okay? All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply my first coat of color. I'm going to drop the excess on the apex. Okay. And with this procedure, I am going to wipe my brush off, and I'm going to come all the way to the cuticle line, and I'm going to just do a quick swipe around. Wipe my brush, set my dish in place, and that was a tragic disaster here, but you can see what I mean. Okay, tap off. Okay, go through all 10 nails, and then what I can do is I can come back around and I can go ahead and I can press the product in and around the cuticle line. Okay, move my dishes, do a little dusting. Try to be a little bit more graceful than I am. Sometimes I'm not the most graceful of people. Okay. Okay. Now, come in for my second layer of color. Okay, tap off. Okay, move my dishes. And oh, the beauty of it right there. How easy is that? Now, I still have enough product in the dish. If you run out, you can just add a little bit more. But if you measure it right, by the time you're done, you should have very little powder left in your dishes, okay? Now, I would set these aside because the color is always easier to clean after. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna switch off to my last coat, which would be my natural set sheer. So I have 2 dishes that I use interchangeably for my natural set sheer, because that's not going to change your dish. And then I use 2 dishes for the color. I usually set those aside after the service and will sanitize and clean those later. Okay, I just want to make sure these are free of anything.
And while Stephanie is cleaning those off, just wanted to let you guys know we are doing a sale, a buy 2 get 2 free. Specifically for the reason of using Jealous Color and also using Natural Set and Natural Set Sheer, just so everyone is clean and sanitized. We're going to go ahead and post the link in the comments right now. And that special should be going on probably within the next hour or so on our website.
So again, I'm going to take my little spoon that I've cleaned off, go into my Natural Set Shear, get my product. Okay. No questions? Not yet?
We got one.
Oh, we got one. What is the question?
Question for you is, what is the difference between SNS Jealous Base and Top Coat and with the Sunshine line base and top coat.
Okay, so basically we have your regular, which is a solid lid. Do we have one anywhere around? I don't know that I have any. And then we have the Sunshine, okay? So difference here, we'll do it in purple since Anna supplied me with the regular. Okay, so you have our Jealous base, and then you have the Sunshine Jealous base. The difference of these two products is the Sunshine contains, it's made for more sensitive people, so it has about 50% less chemical content than your regular Jealous base. So it's really good for those people that say you work in a smaller kind of location, maybe not the best ventilation. This is a much better brand. It's much safer. They both do the same things. Just preference of what you want to use. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead. Anna's ready to go. I'm gonna get my dishes prepared. Wipe off my brush, come back. And voila, okay? So now at this point, I can go ahead and apply the sealer dry, okay? I don't use a lot of pressure. I don't need to come in and flatten my brush down. I'm just very lightly coming across that nail to just dry the product, okay? And at this point, I can take everything and put it away. And now Anna is ready to file and shape. Now, when I am prepping this nail, you always want to come in and file around the cuticle line. But as you can see, if you control your layers and the product, you get wonderful fine layers, thin layers, which allows you to not have as much work on the back end. Okay.
All right. Now, while this process is happening, just wanted to let all of you guys know that our SNS shop is now open, and we already posted the link in the comments on this chat. If you're ever looking for a specific color and for some reason a distributor near you doesn't have it, we have all of the colors available to you online. Like I said, everything is linked in the comments. Also, if you have any questions about any of our new products, we have a For Consumers page, which is right at the top line of our website. It has home, then shop products, followed by For Consumers. Click on that consumers page and it will have beautiful videos, descriptions, and any questions that you may have about all of our products.
Also, I also want to mention, so the products that I am demonstrating here are a professional line of products, okay? These are made for a professional licensed nail product. So if you're watching and maybe you're not a licensed professional, I just want to throw that in so you know and you're aware of that. So, voila, beautiful, right? Look how pretty. So now what I would do is I would just come over one more coat of my sealer dry to make sure that everything is nice and dry. Much bigger improvement from wet your base. Anna is one of our girls that likes to do a lot of gardening, a lot of outside work, okay? So part of what, the other thing, I get a lot of questions about foundation, about certain problems, we get popping, we get lifting or whatever. A lot of that is going to play into how you are building your foundation, okay? Our nails are flexible, they move, they bend. So like if I'm putting pressure on her nail at the tip here, okay, it's automatically going to want to cause this at the cuticle line, the lifting, okay? But if I built enough foundation, okay, that is going to absorb some of that so you don't get that. So that's a really important thing, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and, here's our Sunshine top coat, which is no different than our regular top coat. Gives a beautiful shine, all that kind of fun stuff. And one of the big things I get, the biggest question probably I answer, is how do I prevent my liquids from getting hard or getting gooey, okay? So part of that is very important, that you are doing a lot of brush maintenance. So when I came in and I put my second layer of the dry sealer down, the dry sealer is designed to harden the product, to set up the product, to dry the product. So when I come in on my first round with my top coat, okay, basically that is just to seal off the dry sealer. So I'm not really looking for a lot of consistency here. I'm just wanting to close that off. And then I'm gonna wipe that sealer off. And the other thing, notice that when I come across her nail, I'm not spreading out my brush bristles. I am just lightly using the tips of my bristles. When you spread that brush out and it closes up, it grabs the product and squeezes it in between. If you're not cleaning that out properly, then you put the brush back in the bottle, you've introduced the dry sealer in a very small amount in your bottle. So what you're gonna notice that's gonna start happening is when you come in the next morning, you might open that bottle and it is a little bit stringy, it's a little bit thicker, and that's because you've introduced that product, okay? So now that that's dry, my second round can literally, is where I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna slow it down. I'm gonna do still a very thin coat, but I'm gonna make sure that I am coating the whole section of her nail and the product. Very pretty. Wipe off my brush and back in too. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Any questions?
All right, and then after this is dry, we would probably just follow up with
some cuticle oil, because look how beat up her cuticles are. So I want to go into another little trick that we don't talk much about, and that is when you have somebody looking at, this is a perfect example. Look at her pure little cuticles that are all beat up. One of the beautiful things with SNS, the cuticle oil, is once I finish, like say, because I personally don't like to trim around the cuticle area before my service. I'd rather take care of that after the service. So what I can do is after that nail is dry, I can come in with my cuticle oil. Okay. I'm gonna rub it around. I can take the softer side to my buffer, okay, and I can just lightly come in around that dry area of her fingers. And I want you, this is especially a little trick and handy little thing, especially if you like to do a lot of photography after to capture your beautiful work. Okay, I want you to look how pretty her hand looks once I have done this. Eliminates a little bit, and I'm not using a lot of pressure when I do that. Did you feel a lot of pressure, Anna?
Not at all.
Did it feel like I was sandpapering your finger off?
It felt like it felt ticklish.
Yeah, very light pressure, but look at the difference. So I'm gonna do that again, and I'm just gonna do this on this nail, which has nothing on it, so you can kind of get
the gist.
Okay, so I'm gonna go in, apply my cuticle oil. I want to massage it in. So if you're looking for that little added plus for the customer, this is it. So I'm gonna use not my rough side, but my finer side. And I'm just gonna lightly come in. Not using a whole lot of pressure. This is really good for like these areas down and around. Some of this you would probably still have to, because she beats her hands up really well. But you can just see, look what a difference just that made.
Mm-hmm.
So, questions? Got all kinds. No questions today?
First question that we have here is, how do you stop the chipping of the free edge?
Again, that is the foundation issue, okay? So if you're not building the foundation properly and putting down thin coats and doing everything properly, then what happens is it's kind of like, pretend my hand is a nail and I put something that's hard over that nail, okay? If I bend it here, what tends to be the problem here? The other thing is getting the right amounts of coats on the nail so that you have the strength, because part of it is, think about how hard when we come down like this on our nails, those kind of things. That is why it's so critically important to build your foundation. We also have, for longer nails, we have nail clips so that you can form them, shaping the C curve properly, which also contributes to all of that. Next question.
Does altitude affect the top coat and let's see, the gel top with the red lid?
I don't know that altitude would. I know that temperature would. So part of when you go from any product that we work with, when you're talking about extreme temperature differences, hot to cold. So for example, if you were when you're saying high altitude, I'm assuming it's probably a little colder where you are. So like say you were sitting at your station and you were near the door. So you have the heater on in the salon, but then you have this cold air coming through the door. That could affect it as well. So I have never known to have a difference. So when you're talking about affecting it, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the drying time? Are you talking about, what are you talking about when you're saying, does high altitude affect the top coat? Oh, let's see. Who else do we have here? Guess I'm still waiting on an answer. Okay, Karen, what was your answer? Let me look. Does the altitude affect the top coat? Okay, I think I got that.
No, it
It doesn't dry ever. When I went to the class in Texas, I had issues with the product when I got back to Wyoming. Okay, so if your product is not drying, one of the big issues that causes that is putting it on too thick. Okay, so when I am working with the top coat, okay, and when you look at Anna's nails, okay, so if I came out with my top coat and after I did everything and I had a lot of product on it, okay, because this is typically how we kind of do nail polish, and I come in with look how much that is. This right here, if I goop this and then I do not allow that to dry properly and I come over with a second coat of top coat on top of that, it will never dry properly. Okay, so part of it is the thickness of the top coat, thinning it out so that it's properly thin, and not, you gotta wait for it to properly dry. Because I mean, you can see right now, you can see that's still wet and it's probably not gonna dry properly because I put a really thick coat of it on. The other thing is if you're not using the sealer dye properly. So if you do not put the sealer dye on it, you will notice like her nail probably won't dry. Look, it's still wet. Okay? Because there's no sealer dry. That's why we explain to stay within the SNS system and use the SNS products, because our products are made to work one within the other. So part of it is it's not going to dry because I do not have any product on it. I have not put the sealer dry down to dry the product out. And I put too thick of a base coat for the first round. Now, if that's still not dry and I go over it again with more top coat, it will not dry. So I hope that answers your question, Karen. Let me know.
Okay, we have another question. After a completed nail, if you wanted to put nail art sticker, sorry, just 1 second, can you just apply the top coat to seal? I've tried putting on natural set sheer over the top, but once I buff, it still looks grainy once I've added top coat.
Okay, yes, you can. So as long as you don't have a lot of thickness to the sticker, okay? But yeah, you can use the top coat. So what I usually do is my first round of top coat, you know, you could apply a sticker and go over it with the top coat. You just got to be careful, because if it's something that's too thick and you get a buildup of the top coat around what you applied, it won't dry properly. Could I have you message me?
Yeah, I already said.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Is there any other questions from you guys?
So I'm going to go ahead and have Anna respond with my phone here, and then you guys have me. My name is Stephanie, so that if you have questions after, you can ask. Okay? Any other questions? What time do we have? How much longer? I'm lost on time.
We're pretty much set here. It's about to be 2 o'clock, and we're going to be logging off. If you have any questions, please let us know. Message us directly or comments to this link. Just wanted to let you guys know we will be also on tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and we're going to be with Mr. Joe. We're going to be going over all these subjects one more time, just in case you missed the beginning of it. We will be posting this video as well onto our feed. But if you wanted to ask more questions from Mr. Joe directly or from Stephanie, go ahead and log on tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for everyone joining us, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.